Good morning, family. I am listening to everybody finally decide that there's a race problem in America. Interesting. Black folk been saying this for 400 years that we have a race problem. And now that 37 of the cities around this goddamn country is burning up, we got a race problem. Really? We didn't have a race problem in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when Black Wall Street was burned to the goddamn ground? We didn't have a race problem when there were 1,000 black men and women lynched across this goddamn country? We didn't have a race problem when 4 officers whooped Rodney King's ass and 30 more watched him get his motherfucking ass whooped. We didn't have a race problem then. Now we have a race problem. I guess it's good that they finally at least admit that we have a race problem. But outside of just a race problem, we have a systemically bad police department problem. George Floyd lost his life to bad cops in a shitty system. Minnesota has had 44 people pass out doing neck restraints. Which means that this cop wasn't the only one to do that bullshit. This is what they do. Subdue you by putting their motherfucking foot and their leg on your goddamn throat. And then when you die from the shit, say some stupid shit like, oh, this nigga had a 330 beacon score, some stupid shit like that. He had diabetes. That ain't why he died. What? Motherfucker, you got 200 pounds on my goddamn neck. I really want to deal with one thing, and this is really serious for me. And that is the misnomer running around the country and all up on fucking TV about 1% of police officers being bad. 1%. Let's deal with just that number, 1%. There are currently over 800,000 law enforcement officers in this country. 800,000. And according to all the good people in this country, only about 1% of the police officers are bad. 1%. Well, I disagree with that number, but we're going to deal with just that 1%. That means that if there's 1% of the police officers in this country are bad people, that means that 8,000 police officers are running around American streets fucking people up. 8,000 in 50 states. Think about that. Just think about 8,000 criminals in uniform at one time running around this goddamn country fucking up people of all races. And you know they dealing with us because we seem to lose a life. How do you lose all these goddamn lives in a fucking pandemic? 8,000 of them. Now, that depends on what you think when you say 1%. I hope that you just talk about the ones that y'all catch. Because I want to tell you something. The first recording that we saw was Rodney King. Those of us old enough to remember Rodney King saw 4 white police officers beating the shit out of an unarmed black man. But there were 30 cops standing around watching him. So my question to you 1% motherfuckers is, was the 30 cops who watching bad police officers? What the fuck were they? Because they didn't stop it. The 3 cops that was on George Floyd's back, the little Asian cop who was standing around watching the bullshit, was he a good cop, bad cop? What the fuck was he, oblivious? How many of y'all know the Abner Louima case? where Abner Louima is arrested, taken into the police department. They pulled his goddamn pants down, broke off a broomstick, and ran it up in his ass. How many of them motherfuckers are bad? Amadou Diallo. This shit ain't new. Amadou Diallo sitting on his porch, cops running across the goddamn street, chasing him back to his apartment door and shot him 42 fucking times. He didn't do a goddamn thing. Lil Bobby Hutton, the first man to join the Black Panther Party in his underwear, hands up over his head, shot the shit out of him. Bullets in his armpits, which means he had his hands up when you shot him, but they was afraid he had a gun in his goddamn drawers. This shit ain't new. Katherine Johnston down here in Atlanta, Georgia. 92-year-old woman sitting in a house watching TV, probably Jeopardy. 4 police officers kick her goddamn door in, shoot her to death, lay her on the ground, handcuff her, watch her die, and then planted drugs in her house. I mean, y'all talking about the most recent ones. This shit can go on and on and on. So don't sit up here and try and tell me it's 1% of the police officers are fucked up. No, it's more like 50%, because the culture, that thin blue line, that code of silence, that's worse than the no snitch policy in the black community. When you watch your brother officer fucking over some people and you pretend like the shit didn't happen, and then own up the goddamn chain. Those of y'all old enough to remember the Serpico story. He tried to speak out against police corruption in New York City. They ran that motherfucker clean up out of there. This ain't a foot soldier problem. Them motherfuckers setting up in them ivory towers, those are the ones who making policy. You watch and you see if they convict these 4 motherfuckers of murder or if they cop out and give them a manslaughter case. See, the shit done went viral. So they got to do something to them. Y'all with me? They got to do something to them. But they're going to probably give them the manslaughter, which means they be back out on the streets. So when you talk about Black Lives Matter, until we see a change in the laws where you kill a black man, you go to death row, because that's what it got. This ain't enough that you arrest a motherfucker. Y'all watch. They gonna put this shit on the shelf till everybody looking away. The economy is bad. It's now when the economy get better. And they gonna sneak them motherfuckers underneath our nose and give them 4-5 years. They'll be out in 2. And then when they get out, they get security jobs for $100,000 a year. This shit is way deeper than just arresting those 4 motherfucking officers. This is a systemic problem nationally. There are pockets of people in this country. Y'all watch when I say this. They're going to put a GoFundMe page up, and there are going to be white people all across this country going to be putting money on them motherfuckers' accounts. Y'all watch it. Racism is serious in this goddamn country. And until we start calling it out, when you know the motherfucker next to you is a cold-blooded racist, and you look the other way because y'all golf together, remember this. You know, the great Dick Gregory used to say it all the time. The Klan ain't our problem. The Ku Klux Klan is not our problem. Them motherfuckers don't want to be around us. They easy to pick out. David Duke ain't our problem. We know who the fuck he is. David Duke let you know I hate niggas. Our problem are the people who own these major corporations who pass these policies along. You know, the motherfucker who run Harvard and who run Yale, Notre Dame, MIT. These are the motherfuckers who make real policy in this country, which will allow this systemic racism to go on for 400 motherfucking years. For those of y'all who don't understand the beginning of white